They called him a hero, but the gods weren't done testing him. 10 years of war had ended, but for Odysseus, the true battle had just begun. Monsters, gods, treachery, and a home overrun by men who would take his wife and crown. This is the Odyssey. 10 years of brutal war are over. Troy has fallen. Odysseus, the brilliant mind behind the Trojan horse, is hailed as a hero, but for him the real battle is just beginning. The long road home, through seas ruled by angry gods and lands haunted by monsters. In Ithaca, his palace rots under a different kind of siege. Dozens of arrogant suitors feast on his wealth, each vying for his wife, Penelope. Loyal and cunning, she weaves a shroud by day and secretly unravels it by night to stall their advances. Her son, Telemachus, still untested, longs for the father he has never truly known. On Olympus, the gods debate Odysseus's fate. Athena, his steadfast protector, vows to guide Telemachus on a quest for news, a journey that will awaken the hero within him. This is a story of peril and transformation, of a man stripped to his core, tested to the limits, and remade by the will to return home. If you're ready to follow this epic journey across stormy seas and into the realm of gods and monsters, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of the Odyssey. Our story truly begins not with a grand triumph, but with a costly mistake. After the glory of Troy, Odysseus and his men, filled with the spoils of war, land on the shores of Ismarus, the land of the Cicones. Victory, it seems, has made them reckless. They plunder the city, driven by a hunger for more, ignoring Odysseus's pleas to retreat quickly. This hubris proves disastrous. The Cicones, reinforced by their neighbors, launch a fierce counterattack. Odysseus and his men, caught off guard, suffer heavy losses. 6 men from each ship are lost, a grim reminder that even the greatest heroes are vulnerable and that the path home is paved with unforeseen dangers. The sea, once a highway to glory, now becomes a treacherous adversary. Driven by sorrow and the sting of defeat, they sail onward, only to be caught in a violent storm sent by Zeus himself. For 9 days they are tossed and turned, battling the relentless waves until they finally reach a strange and alluring land, the land of the Lotus-Eaters. Here a different kind of danger awaits, not swords or spears, but a sweet, intoxicating fruit, the lotus. Those who taste it forget everything, their homes, their families, their very purpose. They lose all desire to return, content to live in a blissful, forgetful haze. Odysseus, ever vigilant, sends a few men to investigate, and they too fall victim to the lotus's spell. With great effort, Odysseus drags his unwilling men back to the ships, binding them to their benches. The lure of oblivion is powerful, but the call of home, the memory of Ithaca, proves stronger. This episode is a stark warning. The greatest battles are not always fought with weapons, but within the mind, against the temptation to abandon one's true self. From the land of forgetfulness, they sail into the domain of giants, the Cyclops, one-eyed, monstrous beings living in savage isolation. Odysseus, driven by curiosity and a desire for hospitality, leads a small group to a cave, unaware of the horror that awaits them. This is the lair of Polyphemus, a colossal Cyclops, son of Poseidon himself. Polyphemus, far from offering hospitality, traps Odysseus and his men, devouring them 2 by 2. The screams of his dying comrades echo in the cave, a chilling testament to the Cyclops' brutality. Odysseus, trapped and desperate, must rely on his legendary cunning. He devises a plan, a brilliant deception that will save the lives of his remaining men. He offers Polyphemus strong wine, intoxicating the giant. When asked his name, Odysseus, with a stroke of genius, declares himself to be nobody. As the Cyclops succumbs to the wine-induced stupor, Odysseus and his men drive a sharpened, heated stake into his single eye, blinding him. The giant roars in agony, alerting his fellow Cyclopes. But when they ask who has harmed him, he cries out, "Nobody! Nobody is killing me." They dismiss his cries, leaving Odysseus and his men to escape. But even in triumph, Odysseus's fatal flaw emerges, his pride. As they sail away, he cannot resist taunting the blinded Cyclops, revealing his true name. This act of hubris seals his fate, for Polyphemus, son of Poseidon, calls upon his father to curse Odysseus, ensuring a long and arduous journey home. The sea god, enraged, answers his son's plea, setting in motion a chain of events that will test Odysseus beyond imagination. If you're still with us, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. What do you think Odysseus feared most in this encounter? The physical threat of the Cyclops, or the temptation to reveal his identity? After escaping the Cyclops, Odysseus and his weary crew arrive at the floating island of Aeolia, home of Aeolus, the benevolent god of the winds. Aeolus, moved by Odysseus's tale, offers a precious gift, a bag containing all the unfavorable winds, leaving only the gentle west wind to guide them home. He warns Odysseus not to open the bag, a crucial instruction for their safe passage. For days they sail smoothly, the shores of Ithaca drawing ever closer. Odysseus, exhausted, finally succumbs to sleep. But his men, consumed by curiosity and suspicion, believe the bag contains gold and silver. They open it, unleashing a furious tempest that drives them all the way back to Aeolia. Aeolus, now convinced that Odysseus is cursed by the gods, refuses to help them further, leaving them to face the wrath of the sea alone. Their hopes dashed, they sailed to the land of the Laestrygonians, a race of monstrous, cannibalistic giants. Mistaking the calm harbor for a safe haven, Odysseus's fleet sails into the narrow inlet. Only Odysseus, ever cautious, moors his ship outside the harbor. The Laestrygonians, led by their king Antiphates, launch a devastating attack, raining down boulders from the cliffs, smashing Odysseus's ships and spearing his men like fish. It is a massacre. Only Odysseus's ship, the one moored outside, manages to escape, fleeing the harbor of death with a mere handful of survivors. The journey home has become a desperate flight for survival. From the jaws of death, Odysseus and his dwindling crew reach the island of Aiaia, a place of hidden beauty and quiet danger. It is the home of Circe, daughter of the sun god Helios and the ocean nymph Perse. Known in whispered tales as both a temptress and a sorceress, her power is said to rival the gods themselves. Her palace, nestled in a forest clearing, gleams in the sunlight, surrounded by strangely tame wolves and lions. Yet these beasts are no ordinary guardians. They are men, victims of her potent magic, transformed into animals yet left with human eyes. Odysseus sends a scouting party to seek her hospitality, but only returns, pale and shaking. He tells of Circe's beguiling welcome, a feast of rich food and honeyed wine laced with spells. As his men drank, their bodies twisted and shrank into the forms of swine, their human minds trapped in the eyes of pigs. Determined to save them, Odysseus sets out alone. The god Hermes meets him on the path, offering a sprig of moly, a rare magical herb, black-stemmed with a white flower. Said to be a gift from the gods themselves, it will shield him from Circe's enchantments. When Odysseus enters her hall, Circe offers the same enchanted cup. He drinks, but her magic fails. Drawing his sword, he forces her to swear an unbreakable oath. She will never harm him, and she will restore his men to their human form. Circe keeps her word. The swine become men again, younger, stronger, and more handsome than before. Her hostility melts into admiration. What began as a clash of wills slowly becomes something more. Long conversations by the fire, shared meals, and quiet moments where neither speaks, yet both understand. Circe, who had bent countless men to her will, finds herself drawn to Odysseus as an equal. And Odysseus, though his heart still yearns for Ithaca, cannot deny the comfort and warmth she offers. Odysseus and his crew remain on Aiaia for a full year, feasting, resting, and regaining their strength. But this year is not without its shadows. In their comfort, they lose precious time, and the urgency of their journey home fades. Circe's hold is subtle, born not only of magic but of affection, charm, and the rare peace she offers to a man who has known nothing but war and wandering. It is here, too, that tragedy strikes quietly. One of Odysseus's youngest crewmen, Elpenor, drinks too much one night, sleeps on the palace roof, and falls to his death come morning. In their haste to depart later, his body is left unburied, a mistake that will haunt Odysseus in the Underworld. When the year is done, Odysseus tells Circe he must leave. Her smile hides her sorrow, but her eyes do not. She does not beg him to stay, though part of her wishes he would. Instead, she becomes his guide. She tells him that before he can return to Ithaca, he must sail to the very edge of the world, to the land of the dead, and seek the counsel of the blind prophet Tiresias. She warns of the dangers ahead, the Sirens, whose song will tempt him to destruction, Scylla and Charybdis, monsters that guard the narrow strait, and the sacred cattle of Helios, whose death will bring the wrath of the gods. Her parting gift is not a weapon or charm, but knowledge, and a final look that speaks of unspoken words. And so, with heavy hearts, they leave Aiaia, carrying both her warnings and the memory of a year unlike any other on their long journey home. Following Circe's instructions, Odysseus and his men sailed to the edge of the world, to the land of the Cimmerians, shrouded in mist and darkness. Here, at the entrance to Hades, the Underworld, Odysseus performs a ritual sacrifice, pouring libations and offering the blood of a lamb to attract the spirits of the dead. The shades of the departed gather, a haunting assembly. Odysseus first encounters Elpenor, one of his crewmen who tragically died on Circe's island, begging for a proper burial. Then his own mother, Anticleia, whose death he was unaware of, appears, filling him with profound sorrow. But his purpose is clear, to speak with the blind prophet Tiresias. Tiresias, drinking the blood, prophesies Odysseus's future. A difficult journey home, the insolence of the suitors, and a final, peaceful death in old age after a journey to a land where men know nothing of the sea. He warns Odysseus against harming the cattle of Helios, the sun god, a transgression that would bring further suffering upon him and his men. Odysseus also speaks with other heroes and figures from his past, including Achilles, Agamemnon, and Ajax, gaining wisdom and a deeper understanding of his own mortality and destiny. The journey to the Underworld is a profound moment. What do you think Odysseus learned about himself and his destiny by confronting the spirits of the dead? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Armed with Tiresias's prophecy and Circe's warnings, Odysseus and his crew continue their perilous voyage. The next challenge: the Sirens, mythical creatures whose enchanting songs lure sailors to their doom on rocky shores. Circe had advised Odysseus on how to survive this deadly temptation. Odysseus, ever the strategist, orders his men to plug their ears with beeswax, but he, driven by a thirst for knowledge and experience, chooses to hear the Sirens' song. He has himself tied to the mast of his ship, instructing his men not to release him, no matter how much he pleads. As they approach the Sirens' island, their voices, sweet and irresistible, fill the air, promising knowledge and glory. Odysseus strains against his bonds, desperate to follow the alluring sound, but his men, deaf to the song, hold fast. They pass the Sirens' island, and Odysseus, released from his bonds, recounts the beauty and terror of the experience. It is a triumph of discipline and foresight over irresistible temptation, a testament to Odysseus's unique blend of courage and cunning. The dangers continue. Next, they must navigate a narrow strait guarded by two terrifying monsters, Scylla and Charybdis. Scylla, a six-headed beast, lurks in a cave, snatching sailors from passing ships. Charybdis, a monstrous whirlpool, swallows and regurgitates the sea 3 times a day, devouring anything in its path. Circe had advised Odysseus to steer closer to Scylla, sacrificing a few men rather than risking the entire ship to Charybdis's destructive maw. Odysseus, faced with an impossible choice, follows her counsel. As they sail past Scylla's lair, the monstrous heads dart out, seizing 6 of his men. Their cries of agony fill the air, a heartbreaking sacrifice for the survival of the rest. It is a moment of profound loss, a stark reminder of the brutal realities of his journey. Odysseus, helpless to save his men, can only watch as they are dragged to their deaths. This passage highlights the impossible decisions leaders must make and the heavy toll of survival. Exhausted and grief-stricken, they land on Thrinacia, the island of Helios, the sun god. Tiresias and Circe had both warned Odysseus against harming Helios's sacred cattle, a transgression that would guarantee their destruction. Odysseus, understanding the gravity of the warning, makes his men swear an oath not to touch the cattle, but a fierce storm traps them on the island for a month, their provisions dwindling. Starvation sets in. While Odysseus is away, praying to the gods for guidance, his men, driven by desperate hunger, break their oath. They slaughter and feast on Helios's cattle, rationalizing their actions, believing they can appease the gods later. Helios, enraged by this sacrilege, appeals to Zeus for vengeance. Zeus, in turn, unleashes a terrible storm as Odysseus and his men set sail. Lightning strikes their ship, destroying it and drowning all of Odysseus's remaining crew. Odysseus, clinging to a piece of wreckage, is the sole survivor, adrift once more on the vast, unforgiving sea. Washed ashore on the remote island of Ogygia, Odysseus finds himself in the hands of the beautiful nymph Calypso. She falls deeply in love with him, offering him immortality and eternal youth if he stays with her. For 7 long years, Odysseus remains her captive, living in luxurious sorrow, longing for his home and family. Each sunrise brought a fresh wave of despair, each sunset a reminder of the life he was missing. He walked the shores, a king without a kingdom, a husband without his wife, a father without his son, the vast indifferent sea mirroring the emptiness in his heart. Though surrounded by beauty and comfort, Odysseus is a prisoner of his heart. He spends his days gazing out at the sea, tears streaming down his face, yearning for Ithaca. His longing is so profound that even the gods take notice. Athena once again pleads his case to Zeus. Zeus dispatches Hermes to Ogygia, ordering Calypso to release Odysseus. Reluctantly and with a heavy heart, Calypso obeys. She helps Odysseus build a sturdy raft, provides him with provisions, and sends him on his way, a bittersweet farewell to the man she loved but could not keep. Odysseus, finally free, sets sail once more, his heart filled with renewed hope. Calypso offered Odysseus immortality, but he chose mortality and the struggle to return home. What does this tell us about the human desire for connection and belonging? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. His journey from Ogygia is not without peril. Poseidon, still nursing his grudge, sends another storm, wrecking Odysseus's raft. Near death, he is washed ashore on Scheria, the land of the Phaeacians, a hospitable and seafaring people favored by the gods. Exhausted and battered, he collapses on the shore, a testament to the relentless trials he has faced. Yet, even in his despair, a flicker of hope remains. He is discovered by Nausicaa, the beautiful princess of the Phaeacians, who is washing clothes by the river. She, guided by Athena, shows him kindness and directs him to the palace of her parents, King Alcinous and Queen Arete. Odysseus, still disguised as a shipwrecked stranger, is welcomed with warmth and generosity. The Phaeacians, known for their hospitality, listen with rapt attention as Odysseus, after much persuasion, begins to recount his incredible tale, a narrative of survival against impossible odds. At a grand feast, Odysseus, moved by their hospitality, finally reveals his true identity. The Phaeacians, renowned for their ships and their love of stories, are captivated by his epic tale of suffering and survival. He recounts his entire journey from the fall of Troy to his escape from Calypso, filling them with awe and admiration. They promise him safe passage home, fulfilling the prophecy that he would return to Ithaca on a foreign ship. The Phaeacians, true to their word, sail Odysseus to Ithaca, placing him gently on his native soil while he is in a deep, enchanted sleep. He awakens, disoriented, initially failing to recognize his homeland, so long has he been away. Athena appears, disguised as a shepherd, and confirms he is indeed home, revealing her divine assistance throughout his journey. She advises him to remain disguised as an old beggar, to assess the situation in his palace, and to test the loyalty of his household. Odysseus, ever cautious, agrees. His first reunion is with his faithful swineherd, Eumaeus, who, unaware of his master's true identity, offers him genuine hospitality and laments the absence of his king. The moment of truth arrives when Telemachus, guided by Athena, returns from his own journey. Odysseus, with Athena's help, reveals himself to his son. It is a powerful, emotional reunion, father and son embracing after 20 long years. Telemachus, no longer the uncertain youth, stands tall, ready to fight alongside his father. Together, they begin to formulate a meticulous plan to reclaim their home and exact vengeance on the insolent suitors. The stage is set for the ultimate confrontation. How do you think Odysseus and Telemachus will deal with the hundreds of suitors? Predict their strategy in the comments below. Back in the palace, still disguised as a beggar, Odysseus endures the insults and abuse of the suitors. Only his old dog, Argos, recognizes him, wagging his tail weakly before dying, a poignant symbol of the passage of time and the enduring power of loyalty. His old nurse, Euryclea, also recognizes him by a distinctive scar while washing his feet, but she too swears to keep his secret. Penelope, ever shrewd, announces an archery contest. She will marry the man who can string Odysseus's great bow and shoot an arrow through the holes of 12 axe heads. The suitors, one by one, try and fail, unable to even string the mighty bow. Odysseus, still in disguise, asks for a turn. The suitors mock him, but Telemachus, with a nod from his father, insists. With effortless grace, Odysseus strings his own bow, a feat no other man could accomplish. He then fires an arrow, sending it cleanly through all 12 axe heads. The palace falls silent. The moment of revelation has arrived. Odysseus casts off his rags, revealing himself in his full kingly stature. The battle for Ithaca begins. Odysseus, Telemachus, Eumaeus, and the loyal cowherd Philoetius fight fiercely against the stunned and disorganized suitors. It is a brutal, bloody massacre. The palace, once a place of feasting and revelry, becomes a scene of righteous vengeance. Not a single suitor is spared. After the slaughter, Odysseus purifies the palace. The loyal maids are reunited with Penelope, who, still cautious and testing, struggles to believe that her husband has truly returned. 20 years of absence, of false hopes and endless waiting had taught her a profound skepticism. Could this truly be him, or another cruel trick of the gods? She tests him, asking Euryclea to move their marriage bed, a bed that Odysseus himself carved from the trunk of an olive tree, rooted to the ground. Only Odysseus knows this secret, and his description of it finally convinces Penelope. Their reunion is tender and emotional, a culmination of 20 years of longing and unwavering fidelity. Odysseus then travels to the outskirts of Ithaca to reunite with his aging father, Laertes. Their reunion is joyful, but short-lived as the vengeful families of the slain suitors arrive, seeking retribution. Another battle ensues, but with the intervention of Athena, disguised as Mentor, peace is finally restored to Ithaca. Zeus sends a thunderbolt as a sign, solidifying the peace. The Odyssey is a timeless epic that continues to resonate today. If you enjoyed this journey, consider sharing this video with a friend who loves mythology, and don't forget to subscribe for more epic tales.